it is election season, or we're heading into election season, and this has of course been a big challenge for platforms like Meta. In light of the learnings of the past, is there anything that we will see you do different this time around?
Well, we have a whole host of programming and work that we do around elections to ensure integrity and safety during those time periods. In particular, I don't work on this specifically, but in particular my team does work on the safety of women public figures during elections, and we have special programming and training that we do to ensure that women public figures are able and candidates are able to maintain their safety during the course of an election.
You talked about online safety for women, and I know that as part of the Digital Suraksha campaign, you're also working with law enforcement in India particularly. Again, is there anything specific that you see here in India with respect to the kind of reactions that we see specifically for women, and how Meta, for instance, has been able to deal with some of that?
Well, I'm actually going to talk to you one of the things that I've seen in India, and both in my last visit and in this visit, that I think is extraordinarily exciting and promising, and that is the development of the creator community. Mm-hmm. And they're not only engaging in terms of creating great content for people to see and to be engaged with, but they're really involved in a lot of the safety work that we do, whether that's through promoting anti-bullying campaigns, or we had a particular effort with in relation to child safety and child exploitation. And we see this opportunity and real creativity in India around these kinds of issues.
As you look at the way that we're seeing these platforms grow and the kind of reach that you enjoy, what are the specific challenges that you believe that you need to deal with today in the context of the kind of sort of messaging that you want to send out, but also the way that the platform's being used by different constituencies in being able to, at this point in time, for instance, in India, you're not liable for the content that's posted by people on the platform, but that could change if the new Digital Act comes into play. So how are you gearing yourself up from a regulatory perspective in light of the proposed changes?
Well, I think, we have long felt that it was important for industry standards to be developed. We haven't waited for them. We've tried to develop tools and safety and policies to ensure that we are providing a safe experience, regardless of where the legislation goes. We're also really trying to co-design those safety efforts with our users. So that's in the context of creators, it's in the context of the people who use our platform. And I feel confident that we share the same goals as policymakers. We want people to feel safe on our platform. People won't engage, people won't use our platform or use our apps if they don't feel safe. And so this is really a matter of kind of coming together now to align on the approach, and I think we'll get there.
But there is also this sort of challenge between the anonymity that some people want to continue to enjoy on platforms and the need for verification and identification. So as a platform, how much of a burden is that at this point in time to walk that fine line and walk that balance?
Well, I think we've been able to do it pretty well. I mean, on our platforms, there's information that we can know in the background about a user that they share with us, and then there is I don't know that we really have the kind of anonymity that people typically associate with parts of the internet. We try to encourage people to have an authentic experience and to behave authentically on our platform. We do a lot in the background to identify people who are not engaging authentically, who are either impersonating or have fake accounts, and so that's how we try to control that area and try to ensure that we have the authentic experience where you know who it is that you're engaging with.
Mm-hmm. One, of course, is the issue of regulators or governments telling you to take something down, and there have been takedown requests and we've seen that number go up considerably. But preemptive action, give me an anecdote to what you may see as misinformation, fake news, bullying, online harassment, for instance?
Well, this goes back actually to when you were talking about AI. So we have policies. You're not allowed to violate our policies. They're open and stated on our platform, and they cover exactly the content that you're talking about: bullying content, hate speech, misinformation, and other types of content. And we then use AI that can identify that content before and move it before people report it to us. We have a transparency report because it's important for people to know that if we say that we're taking down this content, that they understand what we're taking down and how much of it we're taking down and how effective we are. And to give you an example, we have content, let's say bullying and harassment content, or hate speech content, or child exploitation content for that matter. We have a transparency report that shows how much content we take down in that particular area, as well as the percentage of it that we get before it's been reported to us. And across most of the areas that we report on, we're 90% of the time or more catching that content before it's reported to us.
And are you seeing that in India it's different, where you are seeing a higher percentage of takedown requests coming in to you?
I don't know the number of takedown requests in comparison to other countries. I apologize for not knowing that. But we also, on the context of takedown requests, is slightly different than what I was talking about. We have transparency around that as well, so that people are made aware of the takedown requests that we're getting, so that they understand what is the government asking us to take down, and what are we doing in response to that.
India is not just your largest user market, it's also an important strategic market for you from, as you pointed out, an incubation perspective, where you're incubating ideas and also testing some of your new solutions. So what's on the anvil at this point in time? You talked about Reels, and you talked about some of the other solutions that you tested here in the Indian market. What are you prioritizing at this point?
Well, I think we're quite focused on the creator community. India has an incredibly active creator community, and we've seen them use Reels to great effect. I mentioned to you that I was here earlier it's not earlier in this year, it was last year, but it was within the last 12 months I've been here. Earlier, and when I was here, I sat down and had a conversation with creators, and one of the things that came across from creators was that they needed some additional tools. They focused a lot at the time on being able to balance their life as a creator with some of their life that was outside of the work that they were doing as a creator, and finding a way to be able to have that time balance. And since that time, from when I came into now, we have a new tool called the scheduling tool that was developed in response to that kind of feedback that we had gotten from creators. So we do look to India first in this area.
And as you pointed out, this is not your first visit to India, it's your sixth visit. How have you seen this market change? You talked about the creator economy, and it's grown significantly. But what are some of the other insights over the last 6 visits that you've done here in India that has, to your mind, given you a sense of how much things have changed here?
Well, that I'm really excited about on a personal level is growth in the number of active women on our platform and the activity there. I remember when I first came to India, there was a lot of conversation from the women that I was meeting with around safety. And not that women's safety isn't an issue, it's always an issue. It's still an issue now. But at the time, that seemed to be impacting women's interests in being on our platform. That seems to have really changed. And I met with the minister earlier today, and I had heard her say last night on the news, 400 million women are active, fiscally active, contributing members of India's economy. And a lot of that is through small businesses, and our platform is playing a role in that, in women being able to develop their small businesses and bring them forward, and women being a part of the creator community. So that, to me, is one of the most exciting things that I've seen, is the extraordinary activity of women on our platform here in India.
Well, that's good to hear, and it's good to know that more women are actively participating in the economy using digital technology as well. You've had quite the India visit this time around, haven't you?
I have.
Courtesy lost baggage.
Courtesy lost baggage, but you know what?
But you've experienced the Make in India story for yourself firsthand.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was really quite incredible. I arrived at 10 o'clock. I found out I didn't have my luggage. By 10:30, they had me in a store that had opened up specifically because for me. They took all my measurements, and by 7 a.m. this morning, I had a suit. I mean, only in India, only in India. It's a nation of problem solving.
Well, problem solving and making in India experience firsthand. Antigone, thanks so much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. We wish you the very best for the rest of your trip, and we hope you get your bags back as well.
Me
But
too.
good to speak to you, and thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That's it then on this edition of the Global Dialogue. We'll see you again next week. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye and many thanks for watching.